Okay, so we're live. Um, Hello again, guys. It's been a while. So yeah, I had a quick two week break. Two reasons. First is I had an amazing interview with an eye specialist. Learned quite a lot about kind of how the eye is built, like physically, and how melanin and all the different pigments work within the iris. So learned a ton. And the second half of the break, I had dental work done, so I've still got a little bit of a lisp. That should hopefully go. I mean, if it doesn't, I'm kind of fucked. But yeah, my lisp is getting better. So, but yeah, I got a new tooth. It's a bit of a weird one. But yeah, anyway, so we're working on an eye. So today's stream, mostly experimentation. There's a little bit of stuff that I want to do with the Limbus, which is I want the gradient of color to be normalized. Makes it a little bit easier to control. And then after that, I've got something that I want to test for the iris, like volume shading, because I had a realization, and I don't know if it will work or not, because I'm not entirely sure how Arnold samples. But one of the problems with the iris approach that I'm going for is that it requires camera projection, which is fine for one eye, but becomes a bit of a nightmare when you've got two eyes because you have to duplicate the entire shader in order to replace that camera, which kind of sucks. But I realized that if I make the iris refractive, but set IOR to 1, turn off spec, turn off diffuse, and just use like the transmission scatter, in theory, that would be UV driven because it's a surface shader. So I kind of want to try and see if that actually works, or if the volume stuff isn't based on the surface at all. We'll find out, I guess. But yeah, so for first, I'm just gonna start off by making the Limbus. But yeah, so hey Vishnu, how you doing? I'm doing alright, thanks. Let's save some UI threads first. Oh yeah, there's some stuff I need to fix too. Okay, so let's get the hypershade up. And enable AGX Punchy. Okay. So I need to get into the lens, which is going to be in here. So I need to decrease the amount of diffuse in this guy, which I do need to kind of get back up to scratch as to how I was doing everything. I think I was just using transmission to drive it. It looks like I was. That's 99% of light. Right, okay, so Limbus. Let's see. So I'm going to go back to using my proxy. This just makes it way faster to render. So let's take a look at the cornea. So it's the Limbus I want to look into. Basically, the thing that I want to solve is that the Limbus color, the way it's currently built, doesn't make much sense. And so I want to... God, if I haven't figured out how to word this, I have no idea how I'm going to actually do it. Well, I know what I'm going to do, but I'm trying to figure out why I'm doing it. Like how to phrase that. Again, rambly. But yeah, we'll see. See what's, because what I need to figure out basically is the Limbus color currently is really finicky. Like at the end of the last stream, I was trying to get the blue, like, you know, how much of Limbus is blue versus how much is black. I was trying to get that blend correct, and it was back and forth like a lot. And I think, like, artistically, that's not fun. And so in theory, all I need to do is normalize it. That doesn't necessarily mean it'll be easy, but it might work. So that's Limbus reach. But yeah, so we need to basically set up Oh wait, is that already? Oh shit. Okay, it's already set up. Yeah, Limbus color is already working. Okay, this might be more troublesome than I originally expected. Now, this should technically be the same color as the sky. I kind of need to relearn my own shader. Have I already hit a roadblock? I am, what, 3 minutes into the stream? 10 minutes, technically. Okay. Let's solo this guy. Can't remember if solo works or not. It does. Sweet. That's our Limbus color. Yeah, so we need this guy down here because it's sclera to stay. Oh, okay. Oh, because it's just copying it across, yeah. So this is correct. This is what we want. So it's the fade into transmission that's going to be an issue, isn't it? Because transmission needs blue to black, like the entirety of it, which it already is. So I'm curious as to why it's so different. I wonder if this needs to be piped in instead. Let's give it a try. Okay, so what are these guys? We can delete those, I think. No, we can't. I'm just going to remove them. So there's a color Limbus, color sclera. Okay, so that's where we want it to be. So then why is this acting so strangely? Do we need this? Okay, so what it was before is what we still need. I think. Actually, no, let's undo that. And really then, these should be more similar in color. This guy. So yeah, I guess this is actually what we want. Which means value's doing nothing now. Right? Yeah, okay. That means Limbus Darkness is now doing nothing. Okay, yeah, so we do need to undo that. Let's see how this goes. Okay. So I'll save a snapshot once it's done like 2 passes. And we'll go from there. So view, store snapshot. Let's darken this right down. Okay, yeah, so we do need that to be that way. But that controlling that blend was really finicky. So I need to control all this stuff a bit more. So if I set this to 0, don't want that. Oh yeah, 0.5 is... Yeah, so that's the problem we're having, isn't it? It's like the transmission is more sensitive than the color, because the color is driven by a different ramp. Not mostly driven by a different ramp. I need to limit these values in some way. If I do like 0.25, what does that look like? Yeah, it just makes it darker. Makes the blue ring thinner too, but then if you keep going, it makes a dark ring much thinner as well. So I feel like this can't be what drives the sclera blend. And instead that needs to come from like here or something. Does that need to be duplicated? Edit, duplicate, route network. Of course. So that works a bit better. So now I can control the blue gradient and the black gradient separately. But they're still linked together, ultimately. Still doesn't seem very artist-friendly, though. But then, when is my stuff ever artist-friendly? Okay, this is something we'll come back to. So we wanted to test... I'll say we. I wanted to test... Yeah, I wanted to test light refraction volume and see if that gives us a bit more control over other stuff. If I set this to 0, what happens? Setting this to 0 just removes the blue. Okay, so it can't reach 1. Is that the entire Limbus? Definitely need to spend more time on how I'm doing this. It's just, what makes it difficult is the fact it's not just a color, it's also transmission amount. But yeah, setting this to 0 is fine. And saying it's 0.99 is also fine, so I could probably clamp this. Because, like, this effect of, like, having the blue, it's not pigmentation. It's not, like, anything with the eye itself. It's, as far as I can tell, the same phenomenon that makes these sky blue. I always forget the name of it, but it has its own name. So this being 0 never really should happen either. I'm not entirely sure what makes it stronger or weaker on certain individuals. I imagine it's the taper of the limbus, like the actual physical taper of it, like the thickness. Because blue is kind of like the default scatter, basically. For now, I'll leave this here because I think this is working okay. And then this isn't giving much control, though, is it? On like the softness of it. Yeah, it's definitely something I need to come back to. Okay, I'll give my brain a break on that. It's already fried me. We've like barely got into this. Okay, let's hide the corneal layers. And for now, we'll work on this guy. So I'm going to create a temporary material for this. What material is currently assigned? Stroma ciliary region preview. That's fine. Okay, so start rendering this guy. That bump is so strong. Because it doesn't have subdivisions. Yeah, it's displacement. Okay. Next, that's transparency. Okay, so we'll leave that intact for now. So what happens if we go into its material? Turn transmission weight to 1. I'm gonna hide the epithelium for a moment. Set the roughness to 0. I'll hide the lens as well. Why is it so rough? Okay, now we won't keep that. I'm gonna undo a bunch. Save before I fuck about with this. Okay, show you. Show you. Okay. Alt save. I'm gonna create a brand new material for this guy. Hide the lens as well. Okay, so new material. Completely from scratch, so it shares absolutely nothing. Okay. why does it still have... There we go, okay. Okay, so let's throw some subdivision on there. In fact, actually, let's get the displacement on there. That's not going to do any harm. Okay. So we have that guy. Let's give him the... There we go. Let's go to set 2 subdivisions. Right, okay, so, enough fucking about. Transmission weight to 1. Okay, that's what I'm expecting. Maybe it's just cached earlier. So I'm going to set roughness to 0. Gives you this effect. Specular to 0. Then set the IOR, wherever you are, to 1. So it's invisible now. So now what happens if I do this? Okay, promising. So it works as a volume, but that I expected. That's pretty standard stuff. Now what I want to know is, does that work with textures? Like just standard checkerboard. If it does, I'm going to switch my entire workflow. Wait, no, not base color. What's the... I guess scatter would be the thing to go with. Let's just start a render. Yeah, scatter's the thing to go with. It does. We can say fuck you to camera projections. I mean, there's one issue that creates, which is we can't do volume-based displacement anymore. Which I was going to rely on a fair bit, but I think having textures, like being able to UV something and paint exactly what you want, is more valuable. Like, a lot more valuable, let's be honest. Yeah, okay. What kind of controls do we have on this guy? We do have anisotropy. That's, yeah, so we want mostly backward scattering, really. Don't want dispersion or anything like that. Not sure how dielectric priority would work with this. That's going to be interesting to figure out. I'm just wondering, does this give us worse results? Like at all? Like when I put something behind this, how similar does it look? So let's go into that material. Of course, I could always include this as a secondary material and do both. But what's good here is I've not got any form of texture plugged into this, so the scatter distance is still working. If I go into my surface, go to my displacement, and double this, that effect's getting strong. We're seeing more of a displacement. Okay, sweet. That makes my life a lot easier. So I think what we'll do is we'll focus on that workflow first. Oh, wait. It's going to give sharp edges, isn't it? Let's get the... What are you? Let's grab this guy. Plug you into the scatter color. Oh, is that the epithelium we're seeing there? No, it's not. Oh, wait, no. Oh, it was. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's edit, duplicate. Do we have ramp UVs for this guy? We don't. Okay. UV set editor. Copy. Ramp UVs. And then for ramp UVs, we're just going to go mapping, planar map Z, put the options. Don't remember how to set up UV sets on a texture. Yeah, there we go. Okay. There we go. I mean, this is going to drive me slightly insane, isn't it? It does still work. Let's just quickly change the scatter color of this guy. Oh wait, yeah, I need to ramp. Okay, so banding is going to be an issue with this guy, isn't it? And also now, with this setup, we need to decouple. Wait, yeah, shit, okay. What else can I do to this thing? So I can't do that. It needs to be white. So let all the light through in transparent areas. Oh, don't want to do that. 0. I'm going to quickly assign a similar material to this guy. Hey Elio, how's it going? Assign new material. go scatter. Yeah, it's going to be really tricky to separate these things from each other. But it's a lot more controllable. Like, a lot more. Let me try... That's a displacement, so we don't want to fuck with that. It's a density. Which one was this doing? It's getting the crypts, isn't it? No? Let's try getting the epithelium in there. The thing with this setup is it still works with all the curve stuff. So I think I'll try to figure out the stuff that will be difficult, i.e. transparency and value being linked together. Because in this case, I need to be able to control the depth. Can I control depth? Oh, there is. Oh, shit, okay. Okay. I can drive the depth to do the transparency stuff. Let me try something. Let's do a remap. I have no idea how... Oh, it's range, isn't it, with Arnold? Okay, so range. I'm gonna do 0. Color render for a moment. We need to do 0 and... Wait, no, I can't just do that. No, let's try it. 0.1. Wait, no. Output max needs to be 0.1. Then let's try plugging that into depth. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, it's a float, not a vector. Do I need to clamp this? Do I need to do a ramp? I'm just going to try something quickly. Let's plug you in there. Let's remove that. Having a value plugged into it? Oh, scatter. Okay. Come on. Okay, so black freaks out. It doesn't like a value of black. So we need to invert that, don't we? That needs to be 1.1. I think it's called reverse. Okay, so I need to reverse that. Put you back to there. Okay. I have to actually think about what I'm doing, because currently I'm just moving sliders and hoping for something to work. So we want these to have a really high value. Let's say like 100. But yeah, we need it to be a bit more subtle than that. How's happening out here? That's interesting. So we want to isolate any black values. AI range. So if we want to isolate black values, we need the reverse, yep. Plug that into a range. I hate that it can't just realize you're trying to connect to float. Come on. Okay. So we want input min 0.9. Okay, that's fine. That generates kind of mask, although I need this to be like 9.8 or something. Okay. Then we're going to use that to mask in. So let's do a layer float. And this guy, we're just going to get range. I know I'm not explaining what I'm doing. I will try later. I think at the moment I just need to get something in place so I can figure out myself. So that's the base. Put 1. Okay. Enable that. The mask, so mix 2. And get the out value. Okay. So the value for this guy is set, and we set this to like 100. Something like that. So when we disable this, we get holes. Now, works well enough. So we will need to create a mask for these, but that's fine. We expected that anyway. Wait, why did I do that? Let's do like 10. Does that soften it? I like to use a lot of clamps. Make me feel safe. That's depth, isn't it, though? So we do want that to be inverted. Never reach 0. Yes, so this mask will need to be painted independently. Currently, the thing that I'm fighting against is the fact that the map that I'm using is both depth and opacity, essentially, which works with the full volume approach, but won't work on this. Either way, though, we do have something that works. So now we got to figure out dielectric priority. Let's go to the... So we have the cornea. Let's delete the history on that. Don't know why it's got history. Cornea, dielectric priority 2, okay. Aqueous humor. Priority of 1. So then we would need this guy to go up to 3. These to be 2. Okay, yep. And then the lens. The fuck does the lens have to be? I mean, it shouldn't matter, right? Because it never interacts with any of us, so I'm going to set it to 3. Oh, I have an epithelium. There we go. Yeah, so this method's going to be a little bit shit. It's a problem. If I hide these guys, show these guys again, and then the colors of these guys. Scatter color. I know which one renders quicker. By a considerable margin. Let's give it a touch more saturation. I'll let this render to like a relatively okay level, and then re-render the refractive version, and we'll compare the difference. Volume will be better, like it will be, but like how much relative to the render time and difficulty to work with. Again, I can do both, because a lot of the maps would be directly translatable. Like the way I plan on working out color would work for both methods. But yeah, the volume approach will have a more 3D feel. Because it actually has a side and depth and stuff. I'll let us do a few passes. Also, I will only stream till about 8 PM tonight. By 8 PM, my side. So exactly 1 hour as of a few seconds ago. Do I have any water? I don't. Okay, while this renders, I'm just going to run and grab some water. I felt like I was in a really shit cooking show being in the background like that. Have you been working in the on the this off stream? No. So I've done the interview, but that's been it. Like, I've not worked on this at all off stream. What's this? I feel like next stream I'll do some sclera texturing, I think. See, I feel like this subsurface effect is really strong. A bit too strong. I like it visually, but it's not right. It should be an easy fix, it's just subsurface radius, what the color of it. One thing I'm thinking is one of the reasons that the volume approach will look better is because it has a side to the layers, like because it's a projection through, the layer has a thickness, whereas the refractive volume thing won't have that. But in theory, what I could do is apply a bump map that is like a blurred version of that transparency, and that will give it a very slight roundness. It won't give it an actual thickness, but it'll visually give it that effect. I'm not sure how well that will work though. I'd say this is clean enough for me to store snapshot. Show these two. We'll try to get a visual match on brightness. You see how much richer it is? But just instantly. God, that makes a big difference. Makes a bit too big of a difference. Interesting how this one gives a bigger gradient of color. Jesus, that's a big difference though, holy fuck. Okay, well let's try to match it visually. See what happens. Need to A-B these two. Set as A. Okay. And then that'll do. Okay, so color-wise. I guess the depth is what's going to have to be adjusted. Let me try assigning that as a bump map. There he is. Where's bump? I'm not even sure bump will make any change. But let's try. Right, AI bump actually. Pump does do something. Not what I expected, but it does something. not what I want though, so I'll get rid of that. What if I try... Where's the color coming from again? Okay. What if I do this? So, UV chords, VRAMP, okay. So we can get that shadowing. Oh yeah, put it in subsurface color. Fuck. So I'm wondering how much of this can be avoided with some good map work, though. Let me try something here. Let's go into that ramp. So you to be like bright red or some shit. How many channels have you made for Sclera? HDRI gives an amazing cinematic vibe. I'm not sure what you mean by channels for Sclera because I've not got any textures in the Sclera yet. I think that's as close as we're going to get without spending actual time on these maps. It's not a million miles away, like from a distance, you're not going to see much of a difference in that. Definitely get more richness here though. And the thing is with all of this is you could fake this with a texture. Like if you just diffuse color, it'll work fine. We're getting a shadow on this. Yeah, the pupil's casting a shadow. That's gonna be a scatter anisotropic thing, right? What's the anisotropy on my actual volume shader? Zero anisotropy, okay. Yeah, there's no textures yet, other than the one driving the differences in the sclera. Let's say minus 0.25. The same for this guy. Minus 0.25. The render speed difference is huge though. It's one of my only proper gripes with this. What is this? That's UVs. I'm just wondering if we should work with the UV version for a while and then later on switch. It does render so much quicker. And render time is important. As much as like pain thresholds are high, like you can render for hours and hours and hours if it means a better result. At the same time, like iteration time goes through the roof. Do I have my displacement for this guy? Okay, let's. Oh, wait, the displacement. Okay, let's do a AB of that. I'll let it do 2 passes total. But let's let us do its thing for a moment. Then I'll store a snapshot. Okay. View, store snapshot. We do get a better sense of depth. Areas like this one, you get a bit more shadowing. You get these like light effects. Okay. So then the ciliary body, there's a pupillary region there. Does it not have any form of displacement? Interesting. I swear it did. Oh, we removed it, yeah. I need to rearrange all this now, don't I? Great. What happens if we get that light rig now? Did we animate these? I can't remember. It didn't. Let's go to 48 frames, 360. It's 49 frames. There we go. Kill the render. I'll do the same with light group A. Okay, so both of these groups. Windows, animation, graph editor. They've moved everything. There it is. There's a problem. Ooh, there's a big problem. That has to be a dietary priority issue, right? Wait, what? I mean, it works. What does that do to this one? What makes this one so special? 48. 360. Animation, graph editor. See, one of the good things with this approach is I can do some real bullshit too. I'd have to do it as a layered material. But let me just try something. Layer shader. Don't know why that broke, but okay. Throw you into there. Material. No. Surface. Ah. Is it blend? So what we can do with this guy is turn off everything. Make sure we have spec enabled. Just find a frame where that spec's coming in. Give that color. There's a way for me to use that to make fake caustics. I'd have to remove the displacement. And I'd have to invert the normals. But there's a way to do that. Yeah, that can absolutely be used to fake a caustic effect. Didn't realize that was such a bumpy surface. Either way, let's undo an absolute bunch. There we go. That's going to be an issue though, isn't it? What kind of priority does it need? Does it need the same as the fluid? If I disable dielectric priority, what happens? It works, okay. That means I need to reevaluate the values as well. Let's A B it. Give it a moment. Okay. Interesting. Wait, the layers of the pupillary zone needs to have a higher priority, right? Is that why things are breaking at these angles? Okay. So the electric priority, the higher it is, well, if it's higher than a different medium, that other medium doesn't exist within it. So why the fuck is it view dependent? Like, what happens if I add a roughness? I mean, if it works. Which it does. Which one's this? Okay. So let's do a snapshot. Whack that all the way up. Changes this stuff. Not by much. Okay, well that solved it. So I still feel that they should be set to 2. So that means the epithelium doesn't have any, because it's not refractive. Cornea, 3, so it's the highest priority. Correct, because we don't want the stroma to exist inside the cornea. We want the cornea to take priority over that. We don't want the fluid to exist inside the inside the stroma. So that's correct. And then we don't want any of those to exist in the lens. But does that need to be higher than the cornea? I don't think it makes a difference, but yeah, I think we should be fine with that. I'll render this and then render a volume version. And we'll see how they compare now. It will still be better in volume, let's face it, but it might be more comparable now. I was wondering in the next stream, do we do sclera texturing or do we do like collagen bundle grooming? What's my lens set to? 85mm, that's fine. Let's do like 2 passes total. So 1 more pass. Perfect consistency, I'm going to put it in the first frame. And let's change to... There we go. So now we know it's super consistent. So I'll wait for this to render. Any questions? Anything anyone wants to talk about? No, right on cue, Ryan. If you just set this up with animated, value for bloodshot and popped blood vessels, how would you do it? Just a layer texture and change the alpha. Things like that, I think are easy to overcomplicate, really. And that's coming from me. But yeah, you just blend the texture. If you need it to animate, then there's a bunch of different ways you'd do that. You could get Primvars from effects. You could do a noise that animates like a bias or something to reveal. Not animate min-max value, but animate a bias, and that gives you a bit more of an organic result. And then what else could you do? Alex at home. Hey Mike, random thought, but one thing you could try is RSGO as a shell texture approach. I think you'd have controlled UVs. Yeah, I've actually never tried doing shell texturing in an offline renderer. I definitely can look into that for sure. Because yeah, I've never done it in a like Arnold or RenderMan type thing. Okay, so let's view, store snapshot. Turn those off. View, store snapshot. Okay, then while that renders, Arnold shell texturing. Is there even a way to do shell texturing in Arnold? So no, the theory of it is that you just have a texture and it's like kind of duplicated layers of the geometry and it kind of goes through it. Not sure. What would it look like if you put a camera inside the eye? And given there's no textures, it looked pretty terrible. But I can do that in a moment. It's a very, very visually different result from here. Again, it feels richer. But it seems to be considerably more sensitive to light. Okay, so let's store a snapshot with that. Then let's try a different light angle. Let's just do perspective cam. Try this. I mean, if the camera were receptors of the eye. Oh, okay. I can test it in a moment. I'll see how this renders first. Let's give this a moment to do its thing. Then after these renders, I'll end the stream, leave a prettier render going, and play some guitar, I think. Maybe some Ready or Not. In fact, Ryan, do you want to play some Ready or Not? Like, in 20 minutes. I can do a few rounds. Yeah, it is a big difference. Okay, let's store that snapshot. a lot darker. Considerably darker. But ignoring that, it does seem consistently darker though, so maybe it's alright. What's my ray depth? That's samples, that's fine. 2. 2 should be okay. Shouldn't make that big of a difference. Stay hydrated, kids. I should try to get a visual match, shouldn't I? Okay, let's change that color. So, set this to A. Let's go into the strummer. Okay. Gets a bit fucky. So how do I make it brighter? Do I need more? I guess less as dropping. Yeah, it's getting closer. Okay. So we're favoring bouncing light back towards the camera. Okay, there we go. Cool. I'll let this render. We've not really achieved much today, but we have another workflow we can do. I still need to reconsider how I'm doing the Olympus. That's gonna bug the fuck out of me. But beyond that, I think we're doing alright. Next stream's either going to be Groom inside the iris or Sclera colors. Probably Sclera. We could start on the iris color stuff that I want to experiment with. Not tonight, like fuck that, but we shall see. Although we'd have to start with the collagen rather than the actual stroma. Right, no. The collagen rather than the melanin. And the lipofusion, which is the new thing I found out about. Which really complicates everything. But not in the world. Okay, there we go. Starting to get something. It gives a nicer effect over here. Yeah, I'm going to commit to the volume. Again, like, just to reiterate, this would all be infinitely easier and visually be prettier for most situations if I just had like a polygon and textured it like with the color I want. The thing I'm doing right now is making it have the light response that I want, and that's not something you can do with textures. But if you paint a shadow in, that shadow is always there. Yeah, I think that will do. View, store snapshot. I'm going to save my scene. And I'm going to go play some Ready or Not with Ryan. Yeah, I'll render a prettier version tomorrow. But yeah, okay. Well, that's going to be it for today. I know it's only been a short stream. But yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday, I think. Because I can't remember what I'm doing, but tomorrow I've got some kind of plan. Ice skating, that's what it is. And Thursday I'm going climbing. Although I need to double check with the person I'm climbing with. But yeah, so Wednesday should be the next one. Then maybe Friday, I'm not sure what I'm doing this weekend. I mean, it is Christmas weekend, so. But yeah, anyway, I'll be back in 2 days. We'll work on either sclera coloring or groom for inside the iris. And then, yeah, we'll go from there, I guess. But in the meantime, thank you for stopping by. And I'll see you in the next stream. Cool. Bye, guys.